Okay, so hello everybody, welcome back. I hope you guys can hear me clearly. Just one second, let me check if I'm live. Okay, perfect. So let's get started. This is lesson number 78. Uh, in the title, it's not written AL78. Do not worry, I'll change that. Uh, I'll get it changed. Okay, but yeah. So this is lesson number 78 where we are covering concept of Bootstrap part 4. So we have already done part 1, part 2, part 3. This is part 4. If you have not seen the earlier sessions, please go ahead and watch it, because otherwise you won't be able to understand this particular session. Because in this one we are going to understand a lot more about Bootstrap, some of the things which we have never seen, and uh, but you guys want to do, right, with this shorter code. As you know, Bootstrap is a something predefined CSS, so it's very easy for you to write code using Bootstrap because it's a framework, so you can easily write it. And they're not long, much long codes are not required here, so you just can do everything possible in just 50 to 60 lines. And that's what I've been showing you till now. In part 4 we are going to understand about navigations bars and carousel. If you remember, we did one project on carousel, but that was really hard, and we did it using JavaScript and it was really complex. But today we are going to understand carousel using much more easy example, and we'll see how you can use Bootstrap to do carousels and all. So popover model, these all concepts we are going to understand in this particular session. Okay, so if you guys are new here and you do not know what is happening, then let me just explain. This is a playlist of front end which I am covering, and we have started from HTML, CSS, JavaScript, advanced JavaScript, some projects, some interview questions based on all of them, and then CSS preprocessors, and now we are covering Bootstrap. So these were all of the things which is covered in this playlist. This has been started from October and we are continuing it right now. December I did not took any session because there was some urgency, and that's why we are continuing from January, and I'll be continuing this. Uh, After this Bootstrap, we'll have Tailwind CSS, in which we'll cover for 2 to 4 hours of session, and then we are going to jump into React or Angular. And also one more backend programming language I'll be taking, not in this playlist, but in different playlists. I'll be covering Java from scratch till end, okay, till the advanced topics. So that is what is in my plan. And if you have not seen my tips and tricks interview preparation tips and tricks guidelines, then go ahead and watch that as well. You can find a playlist in the CodeBeyond YouTube channel. You can see that there's a playlist named as tips and tricks. You can see that and get ready for the interviews, right? Without wasting much time, let me just introduce myself. So my name is Ritwik Raj and I'm a corporate trainer. I've been also working as a research analyst and a subject matter expert in most of the tech companies. It's been 3 years that I've been teaching young graduates and corporate employees for Medicine and Capgemini, and I've trained more than 30k students till now. It is increasing day by day. The subjects which I take is mostly into front-end development, back-end languages, some database languages as well. And yes, I'll be soon coming up with MongoDB as well, because most of you have recommended that, because you guys know SQL, but you guys have no idea about NoSQL. So after Java, I'm going to do MongoDB as well. So that is the most about the plan. I hope you got an idea what all things will be coming up. So yeah, and also there's one more good news for you all, that you can use my code RIT10 to get a free level sample test paper. And this code you can use to get a level sample test paper. That means you'll be provided with a sample test paper which you can go ahead and have a look to understand which kind of questions can be asked in the actual level test. If you do not know what is a level, do not worry. Maybe you are new here and that's why you are not knowing about it. If you have seen my sessions, you must be knowing about it. So let me just introduce you to Relevel, right? So Relevel is basically a platform which is by Unacademy, and it is providing or solving the problem of many of the candidates. So what are the problems? Basically is candidate can be from BSc or BCom and they want to move to IT field, to IT sector. They want to become a developer. They have their skills, but still their resumes are getting rejected by top MNCs just because they do not have the degree of engineering, right? But this is not this should not happen, right? And also if somebody or some students have done engineering but still they are from tier 3 college, most of the MNC companies will not give them the opportunity. They'll give opportunities to tier 1 and tier 2. So these are the problems which students were having, and that's why candidates miss out on great opportunities. So that's why Relevel came into picture. It is India's first test hiring platform by Unacademy, which is helping job seekers to find their dream jobs only on the basis of skill and talent. So if you have the skill and you show it to them, we are not going to ask which college are you from or which particular degree do you have. If you have the skill, you get the job. Okay. Now, what is the procedure of that? It won't be so easy, right? So let me just tell you some benefits about it. So over 100 plus companies are there, top unicorns, top startups. It's been a while that Relevel is now doing really good. So there are 1,000 plus job positions also across business development, front development, and backend development. So you can go ahead and see that. What you have to do here is you have to basically attempt a test which is 1,000 marks, and you have to score above 700 marks. If you score above 700 marks, we'll create a profile for you, and that will be shared with most of the client companies of ours, and then they'll see your resume and they'll interview and get you hired, right? And if suppose you're not scoring more than 700, no problem. 1 month after, you can again reattempt the test. So that is also a particular chance for you to again, get back to the score. How to register yourself in Relevel? So you can see in the description, there's a link given of Relevel. You have to just click on that. It will take you to the Relevel website, and then you can register yourself by giving a mobile number and an OTP. Once you do that, they will be asking you for 3 choices. So select the test of your choice. Suppose if you've seen my live sessions and you know now what is front-end development and how to do it, then select that and book a slot when you want to give the level test. Slots are limited, so I suggest to book it fast. Once you do that, after that you have to fill in the admit card, the details, full name, email ID, birth year, current state, and gender. Now this is the very important part. You have to put down the referral code here. So you have to put down RIT10 here and click on apply. Once you do that, click on create account. Your account will be created, which will look something like this, and you will have the sample paper here. Remember, if you're not using the promo code or the coupon code, which is the RIT10, you won't be able to get the sample paper. So make sure that you are using that. Once you get the sample paper, try to see what kind of questions have been asked, what patterns have been asked, how many DSA questions are there, and what all kinds of questions have been asked, so that you get a vibe that okay, this kind of test will be there, right? So once you're prepared, go ahead and give this test. If you've already done the registering, all the best. If you have not done it, go ahead and do it. If you are not prepared for the test, if you're thinking that this is 1,000 marks and I'm not ready, I don't have those skills, go ahead and open CodeBeyond YouTube channel, see what all other educators are teaching. Backend is going on, DSA, CP, and frontend is going on. Also Python SQL is going on. I'm coming up with Java also. So try to learn from that, upskill yourself, and then you can go ahead and register for the level, right? Also make sure that you're joining the Telegram channel, because here we'll be giving updates and notifications about Relevel and all the other stuffs. All educators, when they're coming live and when what topic they're giving the lecture, all those things will be updated here. So make sure that you are joining this. The link is given in the description as well. Also, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is CodeBeyond, and hit the notification bell so that you get an updates in the YouTube app as well. And also please like and share so that more and more number of people will be able to know about this session. Okay, perfect. So let's get started with Bootstrap, which is part number 4, and let's just revise what all things we have studied till now. So I'm just going to open my Visual Studio Code. I hope you can see it, and also I'll just open the browser so that you can at least see my browser as well. I'll just open the folder and let's just check out what all things we have studied till now and what all things we have created. So I think in my previous session, which I just took at 10 a.m. today itself, I explained you about badges. I explained you about some of the list groups, some of the what else have we seen? Pagination we have seen, right? And breadcrumb we have seen. We have seen about spinners as well. We have seen about progress bar as well, right? These all things we have seen, and I already have these 4 images because I want to show you the carousel thing also as well. So we will do this carousel thing with these 4 images. So just wait and watch what all things will be there. Okay. Meanwhile, if you do not have any idea what's happening with Bootstrap and what we have understood till now, let me just show you one example of it. So basically in Bootstrap is basically a a framework which is designed using CSS and JavaScript. So it makes our work a little bit easy. If you do not want to use the framework, you will be using either CSS or JavaScript directly in your code, which will make your code much more complex. But yeah, that is the default way of writing the front-end programming language. But if you're using a Bootstrap framework, by just adding these two links, which is basically a CSS link and a JS link of Bootstrap, this is the version number, which is Bootstrap 5, which is the most latest one. We have Bootstrap 3 and Bootstrap 4 also, but as we say that you should use the most advanced one because it is having the most advanced concepts as well. So that's what we are doing, and just by adding these two links you will be able to get along with Bootstrap, and directly you can write some code. So we just directly write container empty3, and these all classes, you do not have to mention any CSS for this because container empty3 CSS is already written in this file, so you do not have to worry about the CSS. You just have to worry about the classes. If you remember the class names in Bootstrap, if you remember all those things, different class names and all, you're good to go. Right, so that is what is your Bootstrap. And if you have not seen the sessions, earlier sessions, go ahead and watch it. It is amazing. Okay, now we have already completed till card, and I showed you how to create these cards. We have done container empty3 and we have done card here. We created some image. Let me just show you how does it look like. This was the card which we created. We created one image here, and then we have given the heading, then we have given the no, sorry, not the heading, but the title, then the description of it, then some links we have given, and then the footer. This was the header, which I changed from header to image. And I also showed you how did I do that. I also gave one assignment to you in the previous session. I told you that how you can bring the same card, a second card beside this card which is here. How can you do that? That was an assignment which I've given to you. So I hope you can do that. And let's design something extra new, and let's see what we will be studying in this particular session. Okay, so in this session what we are going to do is a lot of, again, different things, but more advanced ones, right, which is much more important. And you must be knowing that all these, whatever we have seen, all these, the list groups, the pagination, the breadcrumb, everything we can do using CSS as well, using CSS or HTML. We can do all of these things, but when you're using CSS, it will be a long code, it will be much hectic. You have to write a proper logic to do that, and yeah, so it will become more tedious. But here, only in this much line you can be able to write all the codes. But there's one problem, is just that you have to remember the class names. That's it. And I think that is much more easier for all the engineers. Okay, now let's get started with the next topic, which is our drop downs. So we'll see some topics. First of all, we'll see some topics like drop downs, and we'll see navigation bars and collapse and all of those things. And then we'll do carousel. Carousel is the main thing of this session, because when we are using JavaScript, the carousel, it was really complex, it was really hard. So I'm going to just show you how to make a carousel in Bootstrap, so that later on you always use Bootstrap in your web pages. Okay, fine. So let's get started with our drop downs first. Let's create some drop downs and let's see how does this work. So first, the same thing, we will create container. If you want to create, you can create a container, and inside that you can create your drop downs. So drop down is basically, by the name itself you can understand, this is just the same thing which you do it with select an option tag or a drop list, right? So that's the same thing, but there we are using it as a tag, but here we are not using it as a tag, we are using it as a Bootstrap class. So directly we use class drop down class, and we give some buttons here. So again, when it's a drop down, you will have a button. When you click, then a drop down list will come. So what you have to do here is, first we have to create the button which will be clicked, and then later on we'll create the list items of it. So first the button, you know how to create a button. So we give the type. Later on we'll give a class here, because it's a button and we are using Bootstrap. So we'll try to give some of the properties of it. class which is a button btn, just to say that's a button. Btn primary to give the color, that's a dark blue color. Till now you must be knowing about it. And we'll also mention here a drop down toggle. So what is this? Drop down toggle is basically an arrow sign which when you click it gives you a list of items. So that's what toggle will be doing for you. We'll also write one more thing here, which is data bs toggle. This is basically what will happen when you click that particular button. Okay, so it's basically going to drop down the drop down class, whatever you have will be putting in the list, it will drop down it. So that's the JavaScript part. Okay, so the code of this is written in JavaScript part. This is basically when a person is toggling, then what's going to happen, that is what is written there. So in the button, the name of the button I'll just give. So let's say I'm just giving here locations. Okay, after the button we'll provide the list. So you know how to give the list. You have the ul, we'll give a class because we are using drop downs. So we have a class which is called as drop down menu, and inside this we are just going to mention our all the list. So again, this list, if you want to just make it as appear as a list, normal list, you can do that. But here I'm just creating it as a link so that anybody who are seeing those lists can be able to click that as well. That's what I'm doing here. I'm going to also mention a class here. You know that with what it will be. Always whenever we are writing any 3 to 4 things, right, then we call it as item. Many times we have used that. Above also many times we have used that. You can see here list group item, breadcrumb item. So whenever we have a certain things like 4 to 5 things, then we use this dash item thing, right? So that's what we have done here. Let's close this and let's write the location. So let's say I'm writing here this is the first location. Why is it not closed? Okay, let's write the another location in the same manner. Okay, so let's check out what is happening. This is what it is showing me. So this blue color thing, do you remember the primary part where we have written the button in the button, right? In the button we have written btn primary and then drop down toggle. That's why this arrow is coming. And the JavaScript part, data bs toggle. So what data will be shown if I click on it? This is the data which is getting shown. This is coming because of that list which we have created. So we have ul in which we have class drop down menu. This is the menu and these are the different list which is shown. So this is one of the ways how you can create your select option thing. In select option, when you do it, it's very normal, right? We do not have any colors and all. It doesn't look this attractive. We do not, if you want to give colors, you have to externally write all the classes in your CSS. But here in Bootstrap, we have not mentioned any colors. It's just happening within this code itself, which is just of 10 lines. Even if you don't want to give this container, that's fine. Why am I saying that you do not want to give the container? Don't give, because already this div is a container. So this is an outer container. If you do not want to give that, don't give. I'll show you what is the meaning of that. This is the meaning of that. If you look here, this is so just before this text is the div border, the container, and after that again a next container is getting started from which the button is there. Okay, if you want to understand in a better way, have a look at this. This is the container. Can you see that container? Right? The orange colored part. And if I click down here, you can see this is the different container. This is the next development. So that's how it is happening. If you do not want this thing, don't keep it there. Only one thing will happen. This button will go slight above. That's it. Nothing else will happen. Right? Let me just close this. Okay. So this was one of the example of drop down. Let's just do something else here. Let me just show you some more kind of examples. So let's say here we have locations, right? And then we have written New Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, and Pune. So let's say that I want to give a divider inside this because these all are Indian locations. Let's say I want to have a international location. I want to write an international locations. In that case, what I have to do? So in that case, what you have to do is, because it's not a location, it's just a divider which you want to give. So there'll be no location. Instead, what you will do is, it's not an item, it's just a divider. So I'll just write here divider. Divider means just a line which makes it separate from the other items. And here I'm just going to write, let's say New York. Let's see what is happening. So one second, this divider is not coming. It's coming in the same way. Let's go back to the code. Oh yeah, this is not a link. We can't make a divider as a link, right? So this is an HR. Let's remove this. We can remove this as well. Let's check out. Yeah, now it's fine. So you can see these are Indian locations and this is after the divider. This is the divider which is giving, which is given here, and then we have that location. Any comment, any doubts, please do let me know. If no doubts, then we'll move ahead. Okay, so this is how you can give the divider. You can also give a particular header. Okay, so header is basically the first part inside that list. So let's say this is Indian locations, right? So what you can do here is you can give a header here that this is the Indian locations. In that case, you can use any H4 or let's say H4, and in the H4 you can give class. Same thing, just the way we have used the divider, we will use here a header. Not an item because it's not an item. It's not clickable. It's not an item. It's just to show that this is an Indian location. That's it. Okay, so let's check out if this is working fine. You can see here, these are the Indian locations. Similarly, you can do this again to make it look better. You can copy this. You can go down here. You can put it here. You can write here international locations. Okay, so now it looks better, right? This kind of things you must have seen in many of the web pages. One more thing, we'll just remove this container, or we'll keep it, but we'll remove this part because it's not looking that good. Okay, fine. Now disable and active, I'm not going to show that. You know how to do it. Disable and active is basically when you write active it. If you are new here, this is for you. If you have already seen my sessions, you must be knowing what I'm doing right now. Active is basically to make it active. This will be applied to only the links. You can't apply it to these things. So make sure that, let's say that the user doesn't want you to click to Bangalore, so you're just disabling it. Okay, let's just check out how does this appear. So you can see here, Mumbai is in active state. That means somebody has clicked on it, and Bangalore is on disabled because nobody wants to click on it. This location was there earlier, but now we have removed it from there. That is what the meaning of this is. Again, the same question, if somebody is saying that if the user wants to click on New Delhi, the New Delhi thing should be in blue in color. That will only happen by the use of backend programming language. So you link your front end with backend, and you put some logics inside the backend programming language saying that if the user is clicking on New Delhi, then in the front end part, make this New Delhi as active and make this active removed from Mumbai. Okay, so that thing will happen automatically. Developer doesn't have to do it by sitting. 1 second, I think my electricity just fluctuated. I hope I'm still live. Okay, great. Fine, so this is what it is. This is what where's my screen? I hope you can see my coding screen. Yeah. So that was all about your drop down. Again, one more thing. So suppose here in this drop down, what I'm going to do here is there's something called as drop end and drop start. So here what will happen, just let me show you. If you write drop end, this is basically going to shift, and your arrows keys will be coming on the right hand side. So only this much will do, and let's just check out what is happening. So let's save it and let's go back to my browser. You can see here the drop down was on the downside, but now it is on the coming on the right hand side. So on the right hand side, your all locations will come. Earlier it was coming below, but now it is coming on the right hand side. No other things we have changed till now. Also, we can use start. So in that case, what you have to do, you have to just remove this and you have to just write start. It will be the opposite of it. So your arrows will come onto the left hand side. So just have a look. The arrows are coming on this side. That's it. Okay. Suppose if you are keeping your button on this corner, then your list will be coming on this side. Right now it is not having any space to show you in this side. That's why it is showing me in this side. But if your button is already in this side, then your locations, these all things, list will appear in this corner. Okay. So that also you can do. Any doubt till here, please do let me know. We have one more thing. So we'll do drop down, and we can write here drop down. You can see here drop down menu, we can write end. So what this will do, drop down menu end. If I save this, you can see here. So earlier in my normal way, how it was happening, wait a second, let me just remove this and let me just show you what was happening earlier. So this was something like this, right? Let's save this. So you can see here what is happening, right? So it's showing me down. Same thing you can do, drop down menu end. Okay, you can write here drop down menu end. That will be showing you all the drop down menus in the end. You can use drop up as well. So that will show you above the button. So there are all the ways, left, right, that means start and end, up, down, that means above or down. So all those things you can do. This was all about your drop down. One more thing, so you can group all the drop downs. Like here what is happening, these are not grouped. Okay, you are clicking on locations and then it is showing you Indian locations and international locations. So this is not grouped along, right? But understand that if you click on this and all the group things are coming, right? So that also you can do. Let me just show you how you can do that. This will be the last thing on our buttons. That means on our drop downs, and then we'll move to our collapse. So here let's create another div. I'll just break this. Okay. And what you're going to do here is you're going to create a button group. So let's say btn group, and next we're going to create some buttons. Let's say I'm going to write here Indian locations, or we'll take something else. Okay. We'll create one more button. Remember, still this is just the button group. We have not used any drop downs till now. This is just a normal button which will be shown. Let me just show you how does this appear right now. If you look at this, this is appearing right now something like this. Front and back end. This is not a drop down. We don't have any arrow buttons also, because we have just used the class button group. That's it. Nothing else. This is just btn group. That's it. Right. Next, what are we going to do? We are going to now start with our drop downs. Okay. So here what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create another div class. I'm going to use button group itself, because we want that it should look like a button, but once it drops, it will be having some values as well. Okay. So I'm just going to write here button, type button, same thing here, the class, but this time I'm gonna make it like a drop down. I'm gonna use drop down, this whole thing. Okay, so now it will work like a drop down. Okay, now in which particular button I want to make a drop down? So let's say I want front end I've written, back end I've written. Let's say I'm going to write here DSA, right? Say in DSA I want some drop downs, and when you click on this button, then it should give you a menu. So that menu I will just copy it from here. I'm going to remove this because I don't want any header. The UL class drop down menu, li drop down here with its DSA. So let's just write here stack and queues. Fine. So these are the two things which I have written inside it. You can add some more DSA, whatever topics you want to add, but this is how it is written. Let's close the UL, and I don't think any div is left. Everything is done. Let's check out what is happening in my browser. So you can see here there are two buttons, which is a normal button. These are not drop downs, but here we have a drop down. If you toggle, I think the second one is active. That's why the queue is showing me active. We can remove that. Fine. So this is how you can, this is called as group, how you are grouping all the drop downs with the other buttons. So this can be presented in a navigation bar as well. Remember this, because in navigation bar, again, we are going to come back in the same scenario. This does look like a navigation bar. We can have here home, we can have here something else. It is clickable, so it will take you to another web page as well. And there are drop downs as well, so you can use this in any kind of web page, right? This is your grouped buttons, but understand that that was in a horizontal way. Let's try to do it in a vertical way, right? That means not in a navigation bar, but in a vertical way. So how we can do that? We'll have all the things as same. We just need to remove this, and we need to just write here vertical. So button group vertical, that's it. let's try to save this. Let's see if it is working. So you can see here, this is now vertical, and you can click on this. It will give you all the different options. Okay, so we have seen grouped, but we have seen grouped drop downs horizontally and vertically. Horizontally, we do not need to mention any horizontal anywhere. It's just by default. But when you want to do it in a vertical way, you need to write vertical. Fine. So that was your drop downs. Now let's understand the navigations bar first. The active and disabled mode, I will not, I'll skip that, because active and disabled mode every time I've explained you, and I think you must be able to get it. What is it? So I'm not going to take that. So let's check out what is nav and how to create these nav menus directly. Fine. If anybody is there, all my students, please do let me know. Put up a hi message or anything so that I get to know that you guys are watching it. And if you have any doubts, please do let me know. Okay, so let's create our, again, the same thing. We are going to create our div container. One more thing, guys, if you guys have not subscribed the YouTube channel, you won't be able to message in our live chat. So it is already there for only 5 minutes. For the starting of the 5 minutes, after 5 minutes, the subscribers can only ping in the live chat. So make sure that you have subscribed to the YouTube channel, then only you can ping. Okay, how to host our site on AWS. AB, that we will be doing it later on, not now. Once we will see all those things, then I'm going to explain you AWS. Right, and also if you have not seen the other educator sessions, please go ahead and watch it, because they have explained you how to do that. I think Soham is the one who is doing AWS. He has already explained how to do that. So it will be really good if you can go ahead and watch it. There you will get that. For me, it will take time, because right now I'm covering all the different topics. If I'll start teaching AWS now, everything will get disturbed. So go ahead and watch those sessions of Soham. I think he has done a great job there. Okay, so container here, and then the same thing we'll do. So you know that all the navigation links are and always created using list. So we'll do that. Here we'll create a nav class. Can you share link of video? Right now I'm not being able to share it with you, but I can just suggest that go to playlist. You can see in the playlist that there's a backend programming playlist. Okay, in the backend programming playlist, when you scroll, you'll see a list of videos of Soham. So you'll be able to find that AWS part where he is doing it. Just have a search, you'll be able to find it. It's already there. Yeah, so UL class nav, and in this we are going to have some items. So we are going to give li tag. Again, when I've said item, that means we'll have a class name which will say item. So I'm just going to write that, and inside the li we'll have to create a link. So again, class nav link, because we are going to create a link of this. Obviously, if you want to give any hyperlink reference, you can give it here. Let's say link, or let's give a link here. So let's say I'm going to open a YouTube. So this is how you will create the first link. Again, if you want to create the another link, what you have to do, you have to just copy this, because it will be there in the same UL. So you can do this. Let me just change this, and then I'll show you how does it appear. So remember that we have not used any kind of color and all. It's just basic Bootstrap which we have done here. So all the classes, the container, the nav item, the nav link, all these inside these classes, all the CSS properties are written already, logics are written. So it's all predefined. That will happen automatically. And we don't have any idea what it'll do. If you want to change the colors, you do it after watching the result. So let me just show you what is happening. If you look here, this is what it is giving me. It is giving me directly. See, again, we have used a tag, but there's no underline. So these all things have been written inside the Bootstrap CDN link of CSS, and they have written something like that the text decoration should be none, and this is how it should appear. So it looks good, but if you want to change it, you can change. You can do some changes in these kind of links, and there's no problem in that. Okay, but this is the most basic ones. Okay, again, now if okay, 1 second, let me just take one comment. Vikas, hi, will you teach us design patterns and its usage as well as promise design patterns, etc.? Vikas, design patterns, I have no plans, but just let me write it down. All the new topics whichever you guys are telling me, I am just putting it down. I know design patterns is important, but again, for beginners, it's not that important. Yeah, for FANG companies, it is required. It is must. That's why nobody is actually taking design patterns right now. Most of the people are taking DSA, CP, and other stuffs. So let me just check if I can come up with design patterns as well. Not now. I have some pre-planned things, so we'll cover that first. So yes, no surety that I'll be coming with design patterns soon, but yeah, if time permits later on, I will. So stick to the channel, subscribe it. Later on, if it comes, you will get a notification. You'll be able to watch it, right? But yes, I've written it, so I'm taking your suggestion. I hope you understand why nobody is coming with design patterns. This is a beginner kind of channel. People come here to learn the beginner stages of programming and then give an interview where design patterns will not be asked. In most of the FANG companies, or maybe the top companies, the product based companies, they do ask, and all that also not to a just beginner. They won't ask such hard questions to them. But yeah, it is required. Okay, so we have something called as alignment, and I've already explained you this alignment thing in my previous session, that how you can align things. So if you remember, I did tell you that we can use justify content and those things in our Bootstrap to make our pagination comes in the center. Same thing we can do here. So let's say I have another div. Right, and in this nav, I'm just going to give here the center thing. So let's say justify content center. Right now, if I do this, let's check out if my navigations are coming in the center. So you can see it is coming in the center. You can do the end part also. So what you have to do it, you just write end, justify content end. It will go at the end. The default one is start. If you want to write it, justify content start, you can write it. Otherwise, just leave it. It will be by default. So this is end. Okay, perfect. So this is the alignment. Again, you can do this anytime. The next one is the vertical column. Many times I have done one also project where I have shown you that navigation links are not in a horizontal manner in the top, but it is on the left hand side in the side, right? So that also you can do. How you can do that is here in the class. I hope I'm in the code part. Yeah, so in the nav, here in the code part, what you can do, you can just write here flex column, and I hope you know what is flex column, what it does. If you have not seen my flexbox properties wala session, go ahead and watch it, because there I've explained you what is flex column, what does it do. Not flex column, but flex and then how you appear your properties into a column way, that I've explained you. So this will make sense. Let's check it out. How does this appear? You can see here, this is now coming it in a vertical way, but this is in a horizontal way, that also in the end part, that means the right hand side. Fine. I hope these things you will remember. These things are very common in all of these. Like pagination also, I told you how to make your alignments. Here also I've told you how to make your alignments. So that those all things are really very easy to do. Now, if you see a web page right now, if you see my web page right now, you can see that there is no borders given here, right? It's just directly in a white page. You just have directly given some links, and that is looking quite awesome. But suppose if you want to give some borders around it, right? So how will you give that? One more way to do it in a predefined manner is nothing but you can directly give some classes names. So what you can do is you can use a name which is, let's say in the flex column itself, I'm going to write nav tabs. Okay. Let's try to see what is happening when I'm doing this as doing this. If you look here, when I've used nav tabs in my flex column, the bar is coming here. Can you see? You can see this, right? So whenever I am hovering, this particular bar is coming here, right? So that's one way how to do it. The another way is basically, let's say that I'm removing this flex column. I want it in a horizontal manner. Let's check out what is happening now. If you look at this now, you can see what's happening. Okay. So the same line is there, but when you hover, then you're getting this. So it looks good in horizontal. In vertical also it is looking good, but not that much good, because in vertical what is happening? Whenever you're hovering, the border is coming the whole width. It is taking the whole width, right? You must have noticed that. So tabs look good in horizontal way. This is looking good. Okay. So this is nav tabs. So if you want to use it, you can directly use that. The next one is nav pills. So let's check out what is that. Again, it's a pill. So you know what it will do. This is not pill, this is pills. Let's check out what does it do. So if you look at this, one second. I think I need to write something else as well. Yeah. So now have a look. This is what is your pills. The same way, normal way, by default way. Even if you don't write nav pills, it's the same thing. I have removed nav pills from my code. You can see here. Now that active thing is not showing here. You can see here, active I've written here, right? And I have not given anything in the class. I've just written nav. You can see here that in my browser, this YouTube is not in active state. Basically, why? Because I have not written nav pills. So all your active mode, disable mode will be shown when you're adding this part here. So if I'm using nav tabs, you can see here what's happening. The YouTube was active, so it's an active state, right? Let's change something into disable mode. Let's try to do this in disable mode. Let's try to see what is happening in that case. You can see here, this was blue earlier, now it is in disable mode, and the mouse is also not changing. So try to do this trial and error method, try to see what is happening. Now you can see that YouTube is in active mode, so that black colored thing is coming around that. If I click here, if I hover here, you can see that black color border is coming here. Facebook is in disabled mode, so nothing is happening. Now what I'll do is I'll change this particular nav tabs to nav pills and then check out what is happening. So border will get removed from there, but you can see a different kind of styling now. So you can see Facebook is disabled and we can identify that it is disabled. YouTube is active and we are getting a particular box kind of a structure. It is saying that it is active. That means you are in your YouTube page, right? So similarly, if you click on Instagram, if you make your Instagram page active, that will become the same thing and YouTube will get removed from there. So That's the difference between tabs and pills. Okay. Again, in this navigation bar, you can add some drop downs as well. So let's say that you have that I've already shown you here as well. This one, the group part, front end, back end. Let's say you're not making it as a button, but you're making it as a nav, front end, back end, and then this drop down you have added, which is of DSA, and then you have two topics, stack and queues. This is also a link. So you can do this in the same manner in the nav part. This is an assignment. Try to do this. Don't use a button. Okay. That means, yeah, don't use buttons. Try to use a tag and try to use this nav part in this case and create uh, a drop down list in that. Okay, in this way. Try to see that. Try to see if that is working as well. Okay, we will see one more code, which is a toggleable dynamic tab, which is quite cool. So that means, let me just show you. If you have here this YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, what's gonna happen is, if you click on YouTube, down below your YouTube page will come. If you click on Facebook, the Facebook content will come. If you click on Instagram, the Instagram content will come. So basically it's a navigation bar, but it's toggleable. So in the same page, you are toggling into different content. I hope you're understanding. See, right now, navigation bar is what? Navigation bar is maybe home, about us, career, and all. So when you click on home, it gives you home.html. If you click on about us, it gives you about us.html. If you click on career, it goes to career.html. So that is what is your linking of one page to another page. But right now, what I'm saying is, when you click on YouTube, here in this page itself, it will give you the YouTube content. If you click on Facebook in the same page, here itself, it will give you the Facebook page. If you click on Instagram, it will give you the Instagram page down below. So that's what is your toggleable navigation bar. Let's try to see how do we do that. So here, that's a long code. So let's try to understand in a much more better way how we will do it. I'll just comment this up because we are going to create a new code. So we'll see how to do this. First thing is first, we are going to just design our container empty3. Inside this, we are going to create our bars. So we'll have our class nav tabs. So that means the border things will appear. We'll also write here one more thing, which is role. This is a tab list. So we are just giving here a role because this is the toggleable part. So we will use this, and inside this we are going to create our li. You know this because we have to write all our items inside this. So I'm going to make a class nav item. Again, we are going to provide our link. So another class which says nav link, right? Let's say I want to make it active. For now, we will use YouTube itself, and then the same concept, because we are making it as drop down. So it's a basically it's a toggle, right? So when you click on it, something should appear. The same thing was happening here, right? When you're using where is the database toggle? Yeah, here. When you're using this database toggle, what is happening? The meaning of this is, when you click on that particular button, it should show you those all data which is there inside this toggle, right? So whenever we click on those drop downs, it gives me a list of items which I want to show to the user. Same thing is happening here, because if I click on YouTube, it should show me the YouTube content. So that's why I'm writing this database thing in my this part, because if somebody is clicking on that particular part, it should show them the content of that part. So I'm just going to write here a name which is tab. I'll use this name tab later on somewhere else. Href, let's say, just going to use YouTube here. I'll use this link again somewhere else. I'll show you where. So this is the link which I've created, just the link, nothing else. It's just the link which I've created. And similarly, we are going to create some another links as well. So 3 links, and let's remove this. You know that the same web page I've created as well, where in one web page, there's only one web page and you can go to a part of the web page in the same web page. So you have home, you have careers, you have jobs. Home, career and jobs is in the same web page. You just give the ID with the use of hash, and when you click on home, it goes to the home web page. In the same web page, the other part of the web page. Careers is down below, so when you click on careers, it scrolls down to the careers. That's what we are doing here. We are just mentioning the ID. This ID I'll give somewhere in the content part, and whenever I'll click that particular link, it will show me that content. That's what I'm doing. Facebook. If you have not seen these things, if you do not know what I'm speaking, it's just that you have not seen the videos, the earlier videos. So please go ahead and watch those. Then only you will understand what I am saying here. Remember that these are not the links which will attach one page with the another page. No, this will attach the same page with the another part of the same page. I hope you are getting it. So these are all the links which we have created. Now after UL, we are going to create the description of all those 3 pages. So these are the links which you have created just now. I'll just save this and I'll show you what is happening. So here you can see these are just the 3. All are active. So these are all just the links which you have created. Nothing, it is not doing anything. I'm clicking on it, but see, I'm clicking on it, but it's not showing me anything, right? So these are just clickable. These are just toggleable. I've just made it toggle, right? But the content is not written. So now we'll write the content of it. So here what we are going to do is we are going to write the content. We are going to create another div inside the same div. We're going to create another div, because here we'll have all the content parts. I'm just going to name it here it as tab content. Here we'll give an ID. Which ID? The same ID which I have used earlier in my code as an href. So this is the ID which I've given YouTube. So this content will be for this particular part, right? So whenever I click on YouTube, this content will be shown. So this is the ID which I've given. Now a class which will say container tab pane active. So in the beginning it will be active because this was active already. This is active. So if this is active, then obviously the YouTube part will also be active. That's what we have written here. I'm going to give a BR, and now we can write any content, whatever you want inside this. So whatever you want to show inside this YouTube part, you can show it here. So let's say I want to show here, this is the YouTube part. I hope you are enjoying the session. This is just one particular thing which we have written here. Okay, again you can see here, if I remove this, not remove, copy this, paste it here, that will be my second part, right? Here I will just change my div, that's it. So sorry, the ID, I'll just remove this ID. This will not be active now, because once user will click on that, then only it will be shown. I'll make it fade. For now it will be fade, because in the beginning by default already YouTube is active state. So spelling should be correct. No capital, because ID should match. I'll just mention here Facebook, and I'll mention here Instagram. Okay, so this is all done. Let's try to check out whether it is working or not. So if you look here, we have YouTube. This was already in the active state. That is why it is showing me this. Because the ID of this and ID of this is matching. That's why it is linking. If I click on Facebook, now it is on the Facebook part. If I click on Instagram, this is on the Instagram part. Now again, if you're thinking that if you click on YouTube, the YouTube web application, that means a real website will come here. That will be a tedious task because you're talking about a website. So you have to do a lot of things. You have to use some Angular frameworks and all to make your page route from www.youtube.com to this. So you need to create a container here first of all. In that container, you have to use iframe. You know what is iframe? Iframe is basically a tag of HTML which will make sure that inside a web page, inside this web page, you can bring another web page. So you have to use an iframe. Inside that iframe, www.youtube.com will appear. That's how you have to do. So that's a more complicated task. Similarly, when you will click on Facebook, that Facebook page will come here. Fine. I hope you got an understanding of that. Similarly, Instagram, it is coming as Instagram. So let me just show you the code once again because the result is not important here. The code is take down what all classes I've written where. These are very important. This one, and this one. These are the classes which are very important. You need to remember all these classes. There's no other way. So basically how to remember these classes are very, very simple. I've already told you nav items, nav link. How to remember that I've already explained you. Because there's a data related to that, that's why we have database toggle. There's a name given to this which is tab. So here we have written a class tab content. So whatever these are the tabs, the content of that is provided here. That's how you'll remember the name tab content. And then you have the container in which we will provide a pan. Pan is basically a area where the content will be shown. So this is the tab pane. Tab pane where these two things will be shown. That's why it is named as tab pane. And then active because it was active. Same thing happening here, but this time it is fade because my YouTube was already active state. So when I'm clicking on Facebook, this is now becoming active. That's why it is showing me that. If I'm clicking on Instagram, that's why it is becoming active now. Okay, so that is what your database toggle. Fine. So this was also one of the cool examples. You can use, instead of tabs, you can use your pills. That's not gonna make much more change. It's just that the border thing will not come. It will just be a normal way, by default way. The active links will be having a blue background color. That's the only change which will happen. So I'm just gonna save this. You can see, right? So the border things are not coming now because I have not used tabs. This is what is pills. Cool, easy. Now let's move to our carousel. Let me just check out if anything else is. Some more things are there, but we will see it later on. Let's first check out carousel. Okay. So now in carousel, if you remember the code, whichever we have done in JavaScript, right? We were having some of the things which is mandatory in carousel. Carousel is basically, if you do not know what is carousel, it's basically a particular area where you have sliders, right? And it slides automatically. Okay. but it is also having some buttons. That means the left arrows and the right arrow. So if you click on the right arrow, it's gonna give you the second image. If you again click on the right arrow, it's gonna give you the third image. If you again click on the right arrow, it's gonna give you the first image again. Same thing happens with the left arrow. There are some dots also in down, which you can click. It will take you to that image. Okay, but if you're not touching anything, if you're not clicking anything, the carousel will happen automatically. It will keep on going after some amount of time. This we have done. We have tried to do it in JavaScript, and it was a little bit tedious because JavaScript programs needs a lot of functions and all to make it work, because you have some left arrow, right arrow, you have the dots as well, you have the images as well. So you need to make sure that the uh, carousel is working in the fashion how you want it to work. So you have to write a lot of logics in your JavaScript code. But let's try to see how do we do it in our Bootstrap. Now there are three things which we need to understand what we need to do here. First is the indicators. Indicators are basically the small underscores, or you can say dots, which is down below the images, that we need to create. Then we have something called as left arrows and right arrows, right? That is something which we need to work upon, right? And the most important thing is nothing but the main thing, the slideshow. These are the three things which we need to create in our carousel, right? All these three different things, all these three different things will have different codes. So first we'll try to code for dots. We'll try to place our dots. Then we'll try to place our images, that means the slideshow. And then we'll try to create our arrows. Okay, we'll do it one by one and we'll try to see how to do that. Any questions, anything you need to ask, please do let me know. This is also one of the project you can add it in your resume. Do not add it in your resume. Try to add it in your website which you will create as a project. Suppose if you're creating an e-commerce website, try to add a carousel in that website, so that when the interviewer is opening your website, they can see that okay, he knows how to work with carousel as well, right? So try to do that. That will really make some impression in front of the interviewer. So because it's a carousel, first of all we need to create the main part of it, that is basically the container part of it. So I'm just going to do that. This is just a normal ID and a class. So the class in Bootstrap for carousel is carousel slide. Again, it's very easy in Bootstrap, so do not worry about the JavaScript and the CSS part. It's just the classes which makes it work. Again, we'll be using the database toggle because we have some data which we are showing. Whenever you have some data which you are showing, you have to use this. Here we are not using toggle because there's nothing called as toggle in the carousel. It's just simple slideshow. So we are using ride here. These are all predefined. You cannot change the names. You need to mug it up or remember the names. That is what is Bootstrap. It's a framework. You need to do that. Same thing happens in Angular or React also. You need to remember the names of all the files or whatever you're using. So div class. So this is the first thing which you are creating. This is the indicator. Okay. The earlier div, this is the div which is the container, the first container inside which everything will be there. The indicator, the left arrow, right arrow, and the slideshow. Everything will be there inside this div. And this is the second div inside which will create the indicators. So these indicators are three buttons which will be in different shapes. So we're just going to create that particular button. These buttons will not have any name. These buttons are just to make it work, to make your different images come into existence. That's what it will do. I'll explain the code, what is it doing basically, what I'm writing here. I'll explain you that. First, let me just write it so that you get an idea that what all classes have written here. So I think most of the things you must have got here, what we are doing. So basically, it's a type button. The target is in the demo. You can see the ID here. So it's basically the carousel which will be presented here. So if a particular person is clicking on this button, it will go to that demo. It will check what image is there and then it will bring back that image. Slide 2 is 0. That means it's the first image. So even if the user is clicking this button, always the user will get this image, the first image, the 0th image. Okay, class is active. That means in the beginning when the page is loaded, the first image will be this one. That's what is the meaning of this. Okay, did you see I just clicked here and it says MDN difference? That is what I wanted to show you. You can see here. Wait a second, I'll do it again. So you can see this is opening me the MDN web docs. This is what is the document which I was talking about. So here you can see all the tags are having the explanation of that. So you can easily find out what is the meaning of that particular tag, right? So you can do that. Okay, let's check out. So here one button is already completed. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to create 3 buttons because we have 3 images. So the thing which we need to change here is 1 and 2, and if one is active, we can't do the others as active. So I'm just going to remove that. This is the indicator. So the indicator is already created. You won't be able to see this right now because this is not completed. Let me just save this. So you can see here, you're not being able to see anything. I'll just go to inspect and I'll open the body. This is the demo part, right? You can see here carousel indicators. It's already there, but nothing is there inside this. The button, you can see there's nothing been shown here. Okay, once you will complete the code, you'll be able to see some of the things. So this is the indicator how you'll create. Now let's remove this. I mean, let's move ahead and let's try to do the slideshow, to the carousel. That means we'll be adding the images now. Now you'll be able to see images and the dots as well. So let's try to do that. We are going to create a div again, and here we're going to use a carousel inner. This is basically the slideshow wala div. Let's try to create another div, and inside this we are going to create our items. Carousel को भी आइटम चाहिए, राइट? carousel के अंदर हमने 3 images यूज करनी है, तो वो आइटम ही कहलाता है. So we are using that. We'll use carousel item. Just let me know if anybody is watching this program, and if anything is wrong, any particular letter or word is wrong, do let me know. We will change that, otherwise it won't work. This is an active state, that's what. And then already we have explained that this is an item, so now we need to add the image. I'm just going to add an image. Let's say I'm going to just say 1.jpg. I already have these images. If you look here, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, we have 4 images. Let's try to use only 3. And we are going to use here a class which is dblock. Style width 100%. You can give whatever height and width you want. A specific height and width also you can give, because the images are of different sizes. I'm just giving here width 100% because all my images are of the same size. If you look here, this or this, these all are just square size, so all are of the same size. That's why I've given here width 100%. If suppose your images are of different sizes, try to give here a particular width and height so that the images fit in directly and you do not see different dimensions of carousel. Okay, I hope you're getting that fact which I'm saying. So this is the div which I've closed now, and we can now create our another div. So we can copy this paste it. Let's try to give here 2. Let's try to give here 3. Okay, let's save it. Let's go back here. So you can see here we are getting the first image. This is the 1.jpg. You can see here that this, I don't know if you can see that, but observe here there are 3 things, right? There are 3 bars here. Those are our buttons which we created. So these buttons are basically giving you the clicking options which will toggle and give you the second, third image, right? That is what is happening here. Right now it is not clickable because they have not written the code for that. So we'll do that. Okay. Any doubt till here? So now let's move to our buttons. So this div is completed. Now we are moving into our arrow buttons. So those are the left and right controls. So let's try to create that. Here what we are going to do is we are going to again create a button. So button class Carousel, one more class we'll use, which is control previous, control next. Those 2 buttons we'll use. The control previous, we'll use this type because it's a button, and we'll use the database target here as well. Again, the same thing we have given here, target bs demo. The same thing we'll use here. So we'll give a bar and we'll use your demo. Same thing again, database slide, because arrow and the indicators will do the same thing. If you click the arrows, you will get the another image. If you click the indicators, you will also get the another image. So that's what we'll use here. This time we'll not use here 2. We'll just directly use the name of our that is your previous. That's a prev. And let's close this. Next we're going to create a span because we need to give the arrow sign. So class Carousel control prev icon. This is the icon which will provide you that icon. The icon is already present in predefined CSS, so you don't have to mention. This particular Carousel control prev icon will give you the icon in the website. So you don't have to actually give the ampersand and all. Do you remember the HTML elements which I have told you? Like you need to use and then hash and then some hexadecimal numbers which will give you the arrow sign. We don't have to do those all things. This Carousel dash control dash prev dash icon will give you that icon there directly. So just this much. And now the same button already we can copy and we can paste it. This is for your next part. So here change this to next, change this also to next, and this will be next icon. That's it, right? Let's check out if this is working. So let's go to our browser. I think there's a spelling mistake. Just check out if anything is wrong here. Carousel control prev type button database. I think there's no mistake. Okay, let's check out. Let's save this. Let's go back. Okay, so I think the arrows are there. 1 second. Yep, so the arrows are not coming. Let's check out what is wrong. If you guys can see anything, please do let me know. This is the next part and this is the previous part. So it's already there, but the symbol is not coming. Control, yeah. So the spelling is wrong. If you see here, N is what is not there. If I save this now, you can see the symbols now. Let me just check out. Yeah, so that's the symbol you can see. That's a white color, that's why the background is also white, that's why you cannot see, but it's there. And also here you can see the carousel. Okay, so here also that button is there. This is how you give the carousel. And let's write the JS also of it. So let's check out if anything is wrong. Yes, Spexy. Just trying to find some more words which is wrong written here. Because right now what is happening is that my web page is giving me the arrows and everything. The images are also there. This is also there. Indicators are also there, but it's not moving. So it should move. Uh, let's check out what is happening. So these controllers are not working. I think there is what is the mistake. These controllers should work. I hope my JS link is correct, because till now I have never used JS, and this is the script link which is given. Try to do this in your case, guys. Let's see if it is working, because CSS is working. CSS is showing me the result. CSS is showing me all the images and all those things, but JavaScript is not working here. So the command is not working here. Check out if that is working in your case. I think my link is wrong, but still it should work. And I think some of the letters somewhere is wrong. So just check out that. But yeah, this is the code. This is the basic code of Carousel. So this is the indicators code. This is the slide code, how the slides are added, the images are added, and this is your control code. Okay, this is what it is, and this is how you do the Carousel part. Uh, in next sessions, what we are going to do is we are going to see some model and pop over those all concepts. Forms also. We'll see how we can add forms in our web page using Bootstrap. Right till now we have seen HTML and CSS how to create a forms, but we never use Bootstrap using forms. So you'll see how we can use forms in that. Right now, you can see that we have jQuery in the session for today, but today I won't be able to take it. So jQuery will be taken tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Before that, we'll try to complete Bootstrap. We have 2 more sessions on Bootstrap, which will cover tomorrow. One on forms and one on basic grid system. So later on, we'll do some 2 sessions on projects of Bootstrap. So I'll give you some projects also on Bootstrap. We'll try to see some 4 to 5 projects on Bootstrap, so that you'll have a list of Bootstrap projects as well. And then we are going to come back to jQuery and Tailwind CSS, and then we'll start our Java. Okay, that is all the plan. And I hope this session also you have understood in a better way. Next will be on Bootstrap forms and some of the small topics on Bootstrap. So I'll meet you tomorrow with those topics. Okay, so this is the end of this session. So please do join the Telegram channel as well. The link is given in the description below. You can click on it and you can join Telegram channel. You'll get all the updates there, which particular educator is coming live with what topic. And also please do subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is CodeBeyond, because you'll get an update in the YouTube app as well. Also, please do like and share these videos so that more and more number of people will get to know about these sessions. If you have not watched the session, please watch it. This video will be there in the playlist. If you have not watched it, go ahead and watch it later on when you're free, so that you get an idea what we have taught in this session. I'll meet you tomorrow. Again, same thing, Bootstrap, but with forms and different small topics. Cool. So bye-bye, take care, and we'll meet tomorrow. Okay, guys.